We want to start off with a reminder that we are not doctors. Before you make any changes or try something new, always consult with your doctor and medical team first. Chronic illness can vary from patient to patient, so it's always best to consult with your own doctor for what is best for you.
Hello and welcome to IBD Determined. I'm your host, Mason Harvey, and I speak from the role of a patient, and I have Crohn's disease.
And I'm your other host, Michelle Harvey. I am Mason's mom, and I speak in the role of a caregiver. Today's show is honestly something that it's been on, I think, my mind for a while, but it's really hard to talk about because I don't want to also sound negative.
No, we don't want to sound negative.
Yeah, like I'm even hesitant.
The last thing this world needs is negativity.
Yeah, I mean, especially when this is going to be something that is positive also, that is such a good thing. And so I didn't want to talk about this because I didn't want anyone to take it the wrong way. And this isn't to bash anybody I just think in life you can always learn something. And I think some organizations out there that help kids that are sick or adults, I think that is important that they too maybe learn and adjust as things change in the health world.
Everything changes.
It does. And how will they know unless somebody who knows the disease personally, like we do, maybe speaks up, or even you listening. So, to be fair, it's sometimes people in these organizations don't have the same view we have when we're living it.
Everyone has a different view,
Right.
I see myself living with Crohn's disease, and someone else is going to just see, oh, they have Crohn's disease,
Right.
But there's different severities, and so they might think of it as not that bad.
Mason just realized his headphones were on backwards, so if you're watching us, you're going to see what looks like a magic trick.
Yep, the line just appeared over here.
If you're listening, you would probably have no idea.
I probably just moved my head from here to here.
Yeah.
Because that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was funny.
The idea behind this is because I know we were impacted by something with this as well. And so it's important to talk about because I know how it felt. And I thought, this is going to probably hurt other people's feelings too. And I know it was. So anyways, there's a whole story with that. But, the main thing is to never let someone determine your worth or downplay your diagnosis. And like we always say, educate, because we can't expect others to understand unless we are helping to tell them. And so
don't discourage others.
Right. And unless somebody is being outright rude, most times we can't blame somebody for not having the correct information.
I mean, when I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, I didn't even know what it was.
We didn't know.
And nowadays they're just like, oh, you can change it with diet. And so, you can't be like, oh, well, that's rude. You're like, well, what I didn't know what Crohn's disease was, I didn't even know what it was, so I wouldn't have known how to treat it. And so these people are just trying to be helpful. They just don't have the experience.
Right. And I think that's part of it. There's that lack of connection. I don't know how these organizations learn about diseases or learn about chronic illness, but I feel like there's a disconnect between maybe the real stories, like the real people and what's going on. And so I think that's important for them to continue to improve upon. And so that's what, this isn't to say what anyone's doing is wrong. It's just to say what can we learn from. It's
not wrong. It's just, how can we learn? We're trying to educate, we're trying to teach. We're not down talking. We're just trying to teach.
Right. We learned kind of a big lesson, and it was an accidental one with this. And I'm not going to name the organization, but most of you out there know there's several organizations that, grant dreams to sick kids. A lot of different organizations do it differently.
No hate to these. No hate.
No, and they are phenomenal organizations that truly do help. And I know it's difficult because there's only so much funding. And so not everybody can be accepted. Nothing but love for these organizations.
Respect them.
We're just taking a moment.
Don't go over there being like,
yeah, no,
you're bad people. It's like,
no.
We're trying to
continue to
watch this video. Don't start screaming at them. Don't be a keyboard warrior.
Continue to fund. If this is something you're passionate about, supporting these organizations, we're not saying to withhold donations. Continue to do that. Yeah. That's because there's a lot of kids out there that really need this.
This isn't a punishing experience. This is a learning experience.
Also, I think that there's sometimes, even a disconnect in the hospitals with what is told to patients and what we are made aware of. And so that, that plays a role in it too. So we're focusing, I don't want to focus on all the organizations because there's only one here that we personally dealt with. And originally, so I've donated to this organization in the past through my business. I always thought it was for terminal illnesses only. I thought that they, granted these dreams and helped these kids who were terminal.
Terminally ill.
Yeah. And so, you see them going to Disney World, see these things.
And you're
And it
like,
was
oh,
like,
that's sad, but at least
yeah,
they're having a good time.
right. What an incredible gift for their families, for them to make those memories and while they can.
Yes.
And so never crossed my mind when Mason was diagnosed
Mhm.
that he would be eligible for anything. There was never, like I said, never any talk in the hospital from any doctors about anything, never anything brought to our attention that Mason might qualify for anything. And honestly, you were so sick at the time.
I wouldn't have wanted to go to Disneyland. I wouldn't have wanted.
No, yeah, nothing. It was like, honestly, furthest thing from our minds was anything like that. When
I just want a biologic that works. That works for
right,
me.
you're
I
right.
just want a treatment.
That was what your hope was, right? Your hope was
What
not
do I want? A cure.
right.
Can we do that?
Right. That was that. I mean, that was the ultimate goal was to
Mhm.
get you well enough, and nothing like. I mean, and even if and if you were doing well enough to go on a plane, that would mean that. I mean, you wouldn't be on any of these treatments.
Yeah.
Which
Immune
is
system.
pretty much impossible with Mason's situation. I found out later on, probably about a year and a half after his diagnosis.
About a year and a half.
I had saw some other parents in the IBD groups I was in very upset because they had saw that some people in the group had been granted, one of their dreams,
Mhm.
and other ones had been denied. Same diagnosis,
Yes.
and it was confusing to them and very upsetting. And they felt, and I think what happens is parents take this personally, and probably even
Yeah.
kids,
I mean, obviously, who wouldn't take it personally?
right? Because
You're
you're like,
sick, and you're like, please. I mean,
mhm,
I go to the hospital every blah blah blah.
every 2 weeks, yeah, and you're and other ones are,
Mhm.
and so I think it goes back to again, we live it, so we know
We know how it feels.
how destructive and how hard this disease is, even when you're in remission. Okay,
Mhm.
that's the thing. Like it's still continued for us. It doesn't end.
No, it doesn't end.
This disease is
Yeah, you have
progressive.
to take biologics for the rest of your life.
Some of you out there are
And there's some people who the
doing major
yeah,
dietary changes. You're still not feeling great.
biologics might not even
Um,
work. You might
yeah,
have to take
surgeries,
steroids.
all kinds of things. And so it kind of started to make me question, well, I guess what qualifies an IBD patient? I hadn't even thought because I didn't know that wishes were granted to people that had chronic disease, or, I didn't know that. So when I heard these other parents talking, I started looking into it as I always do because it was like, well, this is really sad. And how come this kid got it?
And
And
then this kid.
and then this kid over here, like this is really sad. I decided, like I normally do, I'm going to write a letter and I'm going to say something, and not in a way where I wanted my son to get anything because we had never done that.
No.
This was more to say, hey, I
You
looked
know,
it up, and some of the prerequisites for an IBD patient was having an ostomy bag. But what they didn't understand, it seemed to me, it's like, well, maybe for ulcerative colitis, but
mhm.
then you're essentially, it's a different situation than with
Because I
Crohn's.
know the ostomy bags do work with ulcerative colitis, but
Right.
Crohn's
But with
disease,
Crohn's, you typically are not, it
yeah,
just helps one issue.
is
Um,
1 in 1,000 Crohn's patients,
and it doesn't mean,
getting this?
and so they were taking it as almost like if you have one of those, you qualify. But it's like, wait a minute, kids nowadays, they're not going straight to a
No, they're not
bag.
going straight to ostomy,
They're
biologics.
right. But that does not mean that the disease is any less severe. And I think that's so there's many interpretations. So I wanted them, I wrote a letter to them and definitely was not an angry letter. It
No.
was more of
We're
like
just
to
asking a
educate.
question and trying to understand while educating them.
Mhm.
We're not gonna start yelling at them. We're not
Right,
gonna
because
be
there's no
angry.
point.
There's nothing's gonna happen when you're angry. You
No.
have to, dialectical approach.
Right.
Something we learned in our English class. You
Right.
can't understand a view or a person, or in this case, one of these big
Organizations.
organizations.
Yeah.
You have to have dialectical
Look at
approach.
both sides.
Yeah, look at both
Right.
sides. Try to
And
understand it
say,
instead of
hey,
going, "You are a bad person for
right.
that," and it's like,
I mean, we have to
just
accept
yeah, we have to accept it. But
we had that because it's like they can only grant so many of these dreams to people, and it's not like they can just do it for
Yeah, they
everybody.
can't just make money appear in their hands
Right. But now my thought was, I understand that, but at the same time, then how do you decide to say yes to this child
and
with
then
it,
no
no
to
to
that
this
kid, you
one?
know?
That what ends up happening is it's very mental health wise, very difficult for the disease. And I don't think that's responsibility of these organizations. I think it's something I wanted them to be aware of, that, they do have this power, this presence, and these kids are, it's hurting them.
And
And
you might have a kid that is feeling horrible,
right.
um, and they're having to go to the hospital every week or to get all these stuff done,
Maybe
and to
yeah,
have the appointments and
school's
the doctor at
disrupted,
school.
everything.
And then the organization goes and says, you're not sick enough.
Right.
And the kid's like,
I am sick enough. Like they don't.
I feel like my body's falling apart.
Right.
What?
And so I think it's difficult when these things happen. And
Because now the
so
kid feels like, well,
right.
am I just being a wimp out for this? Am I
So,
not that sick?
so I was trying to educate them that, hey, an ostomy bag is not the only indicator of how deserving a child is of this. These kids go through a lot of difficult things and that are very difficult for them. And
Very, very.
they're doing new tactics to try and treat these cases. And so it's like maybe it's outdated what you have, and maybe you
hmm
should consider, these treatments and what these kids are going through and how their lives are so disrupted. Like,
Yeah, outdated. It's like you can have your dream granted if you get a leech to
oh
fix
no,
your
like way back.
yeah, way
Yeah.
back in the day.
Yeah. No, so I felt like, maybe it was a little outdated what they were looking at. And then I also realized too in doing this that it was regional. So this organization, even though I'd heard of it, like it was a large, I thought it was just like a national organization. They have chapters. And so each one kind of determines. And so,
Differently. Yeah.
like where we are in San Diego, there's probably going to be a lot more kids applying than maybe an area in another state that is a
Mhm.
smaller population. And maybe I don't know how donations are distributed. I don't know. We may fundraise more out here in San
Mhm.
Diego. It's like, okay, so the decisions are made at a local level,
It's
and
different
then
for
they
each.
kind of saying how they could be different. And I'm like, that's really weird. Like you would
Is that
think
fair?
it would be one fair playing
You think
ground.
they have a
Like,
rule as a rule set in stone for each
right.
of these
Because
locations?
wouldn't it make it easier for them who they're going to choose
Yeah,
to? Because that's
it's
going
not
to
a
be
guessing
awful.
game now.
Like I wouldn't want to have to be the person who is looking at these applicants and has to say no to one of these kids. Like
Feeling bad.
yeah, like
The
that's
guilt.
awful. So
Mhm.
I do know, like there has to be something where you have two kids that are very similar and one is chosen and one is not. It's just for one kid, mental health wise, who gets chosen, amazing things happen. Their family's
He's on
uplifted.
top of the world.
For the other one,
She's a kid.
it's like
Oh,
more feels like a punishment.
what
Like,
did I do? What did I do wrong?
well, and like I'm like, you're invisible again.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that whole feeling like people don't get me. People don't understand what I'm
Mhm.
going through. And it's really hard for a child to
I
process
think,
or even their
I
parent.
mean, these organizations are literally made for and advertised as giving a kid's wish and dream and whatever they
Yeah.
want, give it to that kid. And if a kid is sick and they don't get it, it's like
It's like makes it even worse. So I
the
know
one thing
that's
you're made to
hard.
do,
But
I don't
and
count. I'm declined.
one of the things I'm going to do at the end of this, we're going to talk about ideas to help
Yeah,
this.
we're
So
talking about
I
ideas.
sit here the whole time
Yeah.
say
We're,
complain,
we're not going to complain without,
the ideas
yeah.
we're planting the seeds here, guys, so you can hear where our thought process was, and then our ideas to for change and ideas that you can do to make your kids' dreams come true.
The thing is, anyone can complain, and sure, complaining can spark whatever. You have to have a way to fix what you're complaining
Right.
about, because otherwise you're just angry, or you're complaining about something that you don't know how to fix. If you have an idea how to fix it, you go and complain. But if you don't have an idea to fix it, you can't really complain because
No.
it's
Well, because also like the idea here isn't just to like complain against a company or an organization. It's to offer help because we want to see them be successful because they're doing amazing things. So it's like, how do we help you guys
Mhm.
so you can be even more successful and help even more kids? Because that's their goal. And so we want to help you reach that goal while also bringing awareness to this disease and the kids here who really do deserve this. What happened? It was about 2021. And, when I first contacted them. And I was very specific. I do not want to make a wish for my son. That's not what this is about. I want to
No.
keep the focus on the education process about this disease and maybe, clarifying the wording on your website to reflect more accurately what you guys are doing. And so they actually contacted me back,
Yes.
and
That's
it was probably about a month later or so. And
oh my gosh.
yeah, I mean, maybe a couple weeks. I
Yeah.
don't remember.
Yeah.
But it was the summertime, so people might have been
Yeah, there's
on.
gonna be a lot of people
Yeah.
probably.
And so I got to talk to, I mean, I believe it was the lady who was a chapter head for the San Diego region one. And, she was open to listening, and she appreciated
Which is
my,
good, they're willing to listen. They're not just saying, "Oh no, we don't want to listen."
yes,
Just they're willing to listen.
it made
Thank
me
you for
feel
that.
better.
Mhm.
Like, I was like, oh, okay, so yeah, you guys do care about this. And like I was explaining, to them, I was like, sometimes these kids, like Mason, if he had one of his dreams he wanted to be granted, it would not be some big trip. It might be to meet
Yeah.
at that time, like meet with the senator.
Yeah, meet with the senator to
Get
get a
some
bill passed.
initiatives right, like they have the power to introduce you to people that you can help
Uh-huh.
make more dreams come true for everybody by, so like that would be kind of like some, so not everybody is like, I want a trip to Paris or want Disney World,
Yeah, I
not
didn't
everyone's
want to
like
go
that.
on a plane to go to Walt Disney World. At the
No,
time, I was not feeling great, and when you're
no,
not
you
feeling
weren't.
like that, you probably don't feel like walking around
Right.
for 4 hours at a park.
Because
And it's like,
they did bring up, they said, would you like to refer Mason? And said, no, we don't. Because honestly, he can't go anywhere anyways right now. He's not, at that time, it was like, no, we're good. And I told him, if we did, he would probably want to take part of that dream and grant it to another child and make sure that somebody else got something as well. And I said, because we said we really don't want to take from anybody. And she kept assuring me,
no
oh
one
no,
takes.
that's not what we are here to make all these kids' dreams come true.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
within
yeah,
reason.
within reason.
I kept in contact with them.
So
We ended up sending them a book. So I said, yeah, one of our children's books to put in their lobby. So it's like, yeah, so we sent them one. And they asked me again, to consider referring Mason. And they said, hearing about him and hearing his story, they really think we should refer him. They, of course, couldn't guarantee anything, but they really wanted us to. We didn't do it again. And then in October of 2022, very beginning, I finally said, all right, I'm going to refer Mason because at that point, I can't remember if that's when I was something with the bill that we were working on at the time.
Yeah, the bill was.
It was like,
Hasn't been working.
so, and I had
Yeah.
thought we had just passed it. I think it had passed, it hadn't become a law yet, but it was like, hey, we could do more with this. Like, this would be really cool for Mason to be able to meet with a senator, so Mason would have thought, hey, that would be cool
Yeah, definitely. That would be
to,
cool.
right? Like something to meet with senators, something like that. But we discussed it, and it's like, well, even if you were granted one of these, no big money takers, no big, nothing like that.
I'm not taking
The
money.
goal was to make the dream work for others.
Others, yeah, for everybody. We're not just benefiting me, we're
Right.
benefiting everybody,
Right. Like, how do we help others with this disease? And so that was kind of the
Help
goal.
makes me feel better.
And so they were so happy because they were like, finally,
But I can help.
and so then,
Uh,
over a month later, I didn't hear anything after it and didn't think much of it. But I was notified that there was a problem on their end. And because they had also told me, this is a thing too, don't tell Mason that he has been referred. So I didn't say anything after
oh, no,
that.
I've been told now.
I know you know more now, but at the time I knew, Mason and I had some discussions because he knew I was talking to him about this, but not about him necessarily. So everything was kind of like theoretical for Mason, but I knew that the referral had been made. And so and I think they tell everybody this, don't tell the kids so they're not disappointed.
That
So
when they're like, well, sadly, the kid's not like,
right.
oh,
Which is a good idea.
smart idea.
Yeah, smart idea. Around the middle of October, they reached out to me and they had a problem on their end. And they said it was resolved and they were finally able to contact Mason's doctor to verify his medical condition. I said, no problem. And then, like 2 weeks later, they contacted me again. And this is a very, very end of November. And they said they still hadn't heard back. So they asked if I could take the forms and walk them in at Mason's appointment. But I'm like, well, this is going to be awkward
Yeah.
because now
I'm gonna know.
he's gonna know, and you didn't want him to know. And I was,
What are you handing those phones over for, Mom?
yeah, and I was kind of like, you know what, at this point, it kind of doesn't matter. And then, they were like, well, see if I can do it. So then what I did is the first, towards the end of the first week of December, I let them know that I sent it through my chart to his doctor. And I thought, okay, this will work. And then they contacted me again and asked me to bring it to the actual appointment. So they sent me all the paperwork. I had to print it all out, and I'm carrying this, and this is the middle of December now. Okay. And so now almost more than 2 months later, and I'm just kind of like, oh my gosh, so, and then I'm sure his doctor's probably like, wait, why are we referring like this? Like it was so late in the game with his diagnosis, like it would have made more sense to do it probably. So anyways, and I didn't want to explain everything to her that this dream organization had really pushed for us to do this.
Yes.
And that was really the only reason why I was going through this, because I'd already made it clear several times and turned it down. And so anyways, we delivered it. He knew at that point, because obviously I'm like, here's all this. And so yeah, so now he knows. And I'm like, oh great. I really wish that the organization figured out how to get it to the doctor without having me have to do this. So now he knew. And then nothing happened through the rest of December. Nothing happened in January. We got about midway through February of 2023 now. And I got a letter back that said Mason did not meet the medical qualifications. But they wanted us to let them know if his condition changed in the future. And
hopefully it doesn't. Oh no, I'm gonna go back into a flare. Oh dang, I'll be hospitalized.
I was like, but his condition, he has a progressive incurable disease.
It's progressive, so hopefully it doesn't get worse.
Like, I'm like saying, like, well, so what, when he flares and then when he's too sick to like
do anything? Yeah.
I'm like, but a flare will get better, and then are you going to be like, oh wait, now he's better, let us know when he's sick again? So I was kind of confused on that. Like, and the thing is, because it says on their website that does a child's condition have to be terminal to qualify for one of their dreams?
Criteria.
And they say no. Many of the children who qualify go on to lead healthy lives. We grant these dreams of medically eligible children, for example, those diagnosed with critical illness, progressive, degenerative, or malignant condition that has placed a child's life in jeopardy. And so Mason's definitely, any of you out there with IBD know right there what they say, it qualifies. And to receive something and saying he didn't medically qualify, and it's like, well, wait a minute.
Where did I go wrong?
He met all of
for 2 months in the past.
Right.
Getting biologics for the rest of my life.
Transfusions.
Going to the hospital every 2 weeks.
And it was kind of like, I was so frustrated because I never wanted to even go through this whole process. And it was only really there because, and I thought maybe I changed something. So anyways, the irony in all this is I started by asking for change to make sure these kids didn't get ignored. And then I ended up with the kid who ended up getting ignored.
Oh, wow.
So after all my work and efforts in trying to change, it did nothing. And so that was very frustrating. Not so much for us because, like I said, Mason there wasn't anything big that he had hoped for besides a cure.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's all you really, right? That's all you really cared about.
And that's the scientist.
Right. Because a lot of kids get these dreams granted and they go into remission. They go on to lead regular lives. You guys don't always. And your lives are always impacted by this.
It's a regular life, getting treatments every 2 weeks. Yeah. How it is.
It's like you want to raise awareness and to make your voices heard, and it's not always about a trip. It's like, no, that's not what this is about. And so some of these organizations stand for more than just the I guess the materialistic end of it. And again, I'm talking about this with purpose because at the end we're going to talk about ways I think they could improve. And so yeah,
your popcorn, because we're not even
not just complaining, right? So it was just kind of ironic, though. I started in 2021, ended up doing absolutely nothing, and got a rejection in 2023. So tried the whole process and ended up, just frustrated. now we're going to go into our recommendations and the point of talking about this and maybe what you guys can do, how you can view it, things you can do for your own
So we can
kids.
help.
Don't have to rely on these organizations to
No.
make your kids' dreams come true. That's very important to remember because, we figured out ways we were able to meet with the center. We were
Mhm.
able to get a law passed. And so
How without the help?
right. And at the time you may think I need these organizations to help me. You that would be a really like easy way. Like that would make things really a lot easier than what we probably went through over here.
But we still got it
But
done.
we did it. And so that's the important thing to remember is that, don't just rely on organizations to help your kids' mental health or like put all your like, oh, this would just be the only thing that'll make them happy. There's a lot of things that you can do to make this disease better and make
Yeah.
things happier. So,
It doesn't just have to
um,
rely on.
so the first recommendation I think I have, and I don't know if I'm correct on this, but we'll see what you think, but is your timing of if you want to apply for one of these dream organizations. It seems like it would have been better to do when like Mason was diagnosed. I think at the time there, because you were hospitalized and there was things that would have held them.
It's one of those invisible diseases. I look.
Right. And I think it might be even weird for them to like
Yeah.
grant something to you and then have a picture of you looking
Yeah.
phenomenal,
Like
which isn't
this.
fair, guys. That's also not fair to hold that against them. It's rough.
Yeah.
And so I think there's other chronic diseases, other conditions where the hospital will recommend immediately to these parents and families things they can do to help these kids. And I think they're used to the same groups of kids, to be honest.
Mhm.
And I think in the IBD department, that's not even a thought. So it was never recommended. I think other kids are recommended, and that's why they get in and they
Mhm.
do these things because it's just more common for certain conditions. I don't really know,
Meanwhile, Crohn's
but
disease is being swept under the doormat.
right. Well, there's 100,000 kids in the United States, well, around, okay, a little bit,
A little bit. It's a rat
with this with
situation.
IBD, and so that's a lot of kids to be, ignored. That's also a lot to get dreams granted.
Mhm.
But I think that you may do better if you apply right away
Yes.
and don't
Don't wait.
wait and say, well, because their website is not correct in that
Change
sense.
the advertising.
The thing is, nobody's going to tell you about this, and most of our kids are too sick when they are hospitalized or going through something because it continues
They don't,
for
and they probably don't. I mean, I can't speak for your kids because I'm not your kid.
no,
But if I was that sick, and I probably wouldn't want to go on a trip to
no,
Disneyland or go on a trip to anywhere, but there's other things that you can get done,
right?
to help
That might
others,
be
help you, and
very cost effective and stuff
yeah.
too. So anyways, that might be a suggestion for those of you who are interested. Some of you may could care less about this. If you do, that would be my suggestion. The other thing is for you to do what I did. Write, call, talk to your local organizations that do these kind of things. So educate them on these IBD kids and how deserving they are and help them understand that it's not just a surgery. It's not, these kids are going through like Mason is still at the hospital 5 years later every two
Every two
weeks.
weeks, yep.
And
Well, plus that too, because I had the
right.
doctor's appointment,
Plus other
the
appointments.
malls,
That's just yeah.
just
And
the treatments.
and if most of you know, a lot of our kids will be in remission, they fall out of remission. There is so much stress involved with this disease. I don't think anybody understands that. And so I think it's very important to relay this. And so the only way they're going to know is by hearing your voice. So,
By hearing you talk about it,
and
you have to make your voice
not
heard.
rude voices,
No, not
guys,
rude
like
voices, educational.
educational, because this
Have you
is
ever wanted to be a teacher for a school? Well, now's your chance.
right. Well, because it's not like you demanding like my kid is sick. They deserve this. No, 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 no. It's about helping them
Understand.
understand. So maybe when they do have the funding, they will be more considerate and understanding of this.
Mhm.
The other thing is they should update their website.
Yeah.
Um,
We don't accept this.
right. I mean, if it is maybe have an asterisk and something so people don't get their hopes up or don't get confused
Mhm.
who's eligible. And if a child really with a critical illness or that has a progressive condition, you have that on there and then you say they do not qualify, well, they do qualify
According to your website.
right. And so I get it that there's what's on the website and then there's what happens when you apply.
Yeah.
But maybe
It
a
should
bit
be
more
changed
out
a
there.
little bit because it doesn't make much sense.
Right. And I'd also like to know because when I'm donating my funds, I do want to know like if I'm
Who can
donating
help?
Right. Like I want to know who's being helped. And if I saw this and I was like, oh, they're helping kids like Mason, and if I was an adult and I had this disease and thought, oh, they're helping kids with this,
Yeah.
I would love to support them. But
And then you realize that they're not helping
right.
kids.
So maybe just make it more
Yeah, make
fair,
it more.
or like I said, have an asterisk at the bottom to
You can actually
explain,
explain it, and it's not
right, like the fine
uh,
print, maybe.
yeah,
And so that way
needs to be fine print.
people who are supporting know what they're supporting, and people who want to refer someone know. The other thing that I have here is I think what they could do better. I mean, I don't know what you think, but shouldn't they ask what the wish is when you're doing the qualifying process?
Maybe.
I mean, and maybe the kid doesn't know because they're not supposed to know, but like it would have been so easy for me, like when they asked us to refer you, if I could have put down, like no,
Want to go to Disney?
he doesn't want a plane flight. He doesn't need a hotel. He doesn't need Disney World. He doesn't
Yeah, they
need
what they need on the
um
website is they need a all these little check marks,
right,
and so you can check a plane flight, X, Disneyland, Walt Disneyland,
right.
check
Place to
X,
stay,
place to
hotel.
stay, hotel, check, check. So
Right.
they can add up and kind of figure out how much it's going to be.
Because maybe they'll be able to grant more of these dreams to these
Hmm.
kids by asking. So I think that'd be a really simple process.
I think so.
Like ask up front, what are they looking for? And so that way, when you're saying, well, we're going to give it to this one, but we're disqualifying you, maybe you just gave away something that would have been a free
Yeah,
dream. Might
we
have
might
just
have an
taken your
extra.
organization a phone call to somebody. And so, some of these kids might have much more humble, simple, free dream requests. And that would also be a huge boost to
Definitely,
their
definitely.
families, to them, right? Like,
Well, there was even a YouTuber that I know that they had a Make-A-Wish for a kid to Zoom with them,
mhm,
and that was really cool. It doesn't require a plane flight. It doesn't require money. It's just okay. You need Zoom.
right,
That's all.
right.
Just
It was
announce this
just
person. Hey, this kid wants to talk to you.
right.
Okay.
And that was a huge mental health boost for the child that received that,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
definitely made them feel better.
Right.
They get to Zoom with the person that they look up to. That
Right.
they
And
maybe
that they
watch
probably
every day.
watched like in the hospital,
Yeah,
or watched during,
help them relax.
right. And so there's things like that, which maybe if they asked along with that, they wouldn't have to turn away so many people
Because
if they kind of had an
it's
idea.
not $100,000 thing.
And so that kind of leads into the next point of maybe they should consider like a tier, like tiers of how much is given. And again, this, I
Tier
don't know
four.
how bad this sounds, or I mean,
You
it's
get
a
the
thought.
tier four gift kit.
Right, but like maybe like because there's a difference between a child who's terminal versus one who is going to go on to live a healthy, regular life.
Mhm.
And I know diagnoses can always take a turn, but at the point when they're qualifying, if someone is terminal, I feel like that should be, you know, a much higher dollar like considered
Oh yeah,
to
definitely.
make sure that they do get an
What they need,
amazing trip.
it's really deserved for that.
Right. And then maybe there's other kids that you have, they could afford to help more kids by doing that. And maybe that's not their interest, either. I
Mhm.
mean, it's
Yeah.
not my
Yeah.
organization, so it's their deal.
Yeah.
These are just
Yeah, these are
suggestions.
just
I feel
suggestions.
bad sometimes even saying like, but
Mhm.
but I think it would like if it was mine, I'd feel so much happier knowing that I'm helping more kids.
Yes.
That would
The more
be
people you help, the more the
yeah.
merrier, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And it's like in realizing like you don't have to tell every kid, well, what dream would you like to go to Hawaii? Like it's like maybe they would, but
Maybe the kid also isn't comfortable with going on a boat or going on a plane. They're
mhm,
like, oh yes, I'd love to go to Hawaii, but can I take a
right.
car there?
Or there could be something like honestly, one of the dreams I mean, I know I'm kind of like jumping here really quick, but
Mhm.
one of the Mason's big dreams, one of the things he always wanted to do was, like do like Club 33.
Mhm.
That was not something we would ask for
That
this, but it
that's
might be something you could. Like if you already have
interesting.
Disney passes and you're already
Mhm.
and it would to like to pay for the dinner, yeah, that could be like around 1,000.
Yeah, well,
That could be
depending on how many people are there too.
right. Like, but it might have to be like you're offered like, but to get you in, there's little things like that. But if you already have the Disney passes, so if they ask people, what do you have that would help us cut our
Yeah.
costs? You could say, well, we already have this and this, and work
We have the Disney
together.
passes, so
Mhm. Like it's not like put your hand out and be like, you
Okay.
give us
I take
everything.
everything. Yeah, I want
Right.
you to pay for the dinner. I want you to get us into Club 33. I want you to give us the passes. I want you to give us the travel.
Right. It might be like, look, here's how we can make work with you guys
Mhm.
because I don't like I wouldn't want to take from others.
No.
Like I would want to make sure as much money was left as possible to help other kids. And so that's the way I would view it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that sounds
Meat
like
and both.
weird, but that's kind of a thought I was thinking. Some of the things like I know happens like they also you can't have had another dream granted from another organization with some of these. So like they can't overlap. Some of these will only give you one if
If
it's the only one you've received. But then I'll see, I know people who've gotten
more than one,
more than one,
it's from the same
several.
place sometimes.
Yeah,
It's
like
like,
several dreams. And it's like one kid will have like all these dreams granted. And then you
meanwhile,
have
I've
another that's
access
like
denied.
nothing. So it is kind
Yeah.
of weird. And finally, kind of we touched on earlier, make your own wishes come true, guys. Um,
That sounds like something Walt Disney would say.
Yeah, I mean, we can. It sounds like probably silly where it's like, well, I want to do this, and that's not going to happen for a family. We'll do what can happen,
Hmm.
and find ways to help your child's mental health. With it could be something simple as like a really cool place to pick up dinner or to get dinner,
Hmm.
like or give them a special day where it's all like it
It's
doesn't have to be
just,
like a
yeah.
birthday, but like a celebrate you day.
So
And
what you do, we do what you want. Family day. They do what the
yeah,
kid wants. Because I know on the infusion days,
yeah,
it's nice because I get to choose where we go for lunch.
right.
And my grandma and grandpa also come over for
And they come over
dinner.
for dinner. So I mean, and these are things.
And
So
it's just so simple, but
right,
it's just something
but
that
it's
makes you feel
something that
better.
makes you feel
Hmm.
better, and that's what this is all about. It's really about helping these kids' mental health. So maybe you can make a big wish come true for your child. Maybe you can save up. Maybe you can do these things, but just don't underestimate the small things because I think that really is like been the cool stuff for you, like the little ones
Yeah.
along the way, and being able to do that. And we've been fortunate enough to make a lot of Mason's like list of things he
Things,
would let
yes.
like make that
I
happen.
still haven't gotten my golf cart.
No, I know, but you ride in one now.
I do. I don't drive it, but I ride it.
So see, part of
Kind of, yeah,
you know,
50%. Yeah.
sort of. So, so it's important to have your kids understand that, like, don't worry if an organization says like you're not worth it, or that if that's how that makes you feel, because you are worth it, and
You are worth it,
they don't know you at the end of the day, and it is our job, to educate and try to make this disease more visible. So that
because it's
will
already an
change.
invisible disease.
Right.
Okay.
Right. It is.
Yeah.
Unless you see the ostomy bag, which
Unless you
is
see
when it
that,
was like, here's your dream granted. And it
it's
was
about
like,
the looks, isn't it?
and then I was like, that's weird. So anyways, because the interesting thing is, and I took this straight from the site of the organization that we dealt with, they have mentioned that children who are fighting critical illness experience extreme emotional and mental challenges every day.
Okay.
And this is true for kids with IBD,
Oh yes,
guys. Like
definitely.
I reading this, I'm like, yeah, every day doesn't
Every day,
change for
Crohn's
the rest of
disease.
your
Yeah,
life.
I would when I was, coming out of the hospital. We shouldn't be pushed away either. I was
Mhm.
taking how many pills a day?
Oh,
Over 12,
it was hard on everybody.
Yeah, my back would go out if I sneezed. I had
Yeah,
bad joint problems. I would go to the hospital almost every
right.
week because right after the hospital, we were going through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It was a disease that was,
And all your labs and all your,
yeah,
it's
it was really hard to
right.
gauge.
So there were challenges every single day. And he didn't have the luxury of going, but don't worry, there's going to be a light. Pretty soon your treatment will be done. You'll be in
Yes.
remission. It was like for him.
Yeah, because I remember, I've talked about it several times on
Yeah.
here, but I asked my doctor, Dr. Bauman, I was like, so when I'm in remission, at what point do I have to stop taking my
You're,
biologics? And she's like,
yeah.
hmm,
She's like,
you have to take them for the rest of your life. And
right. Because
yeah,
we thought
well,
remission,
that was the end of the
we've said this
yeah.
before. We thought remission meant like the disease was basically not symptomatic. It was kind of gone, and that's how it would be. And so we thought the medicine would put it there.
Yeah.
With this disease, what's misunderstood is it puts you in remission, but you fall in and out, and that's what keeps you there. It's not like chemotherapy where it does end at some point.
Yes. Crohn's disease is different for
It's an
everybody.
autoimmune disease,
Yeah.
guys.
It's different for everybody.
Right.
I'm lucky enough to be able to be on biologics. For some people, biologics won't even work,
No. And so you
You have to
get
take steroids, you have to do surgeries and
and then people, your quality of life you might be living, but you're not living like a normal,
No, you're
healthy
not.
life.
No.
It's still
The
a
normal human is
struggle.
not going to the hospital every 2 weeks
Or
trying
being
to
so sick,
infusion.
like just so it's tough.
Yeah.
So anyways, so they continue with 90% of their alumni and parents said their family experienced traumatic stress as a result of the child's critical illness. Right?
What
I
happened to
mean,
the hospital?
yeah, I know.
Traumatic. It was.
It was extremely. And so such distress can impair a child's long-term healing and leave them feeling hopeless. And we knew that this, again, this is not my words. This is what I'm reading
Yeah,
from
this is what we're
their
reading.
website. But we knew that with Mason, we didn't want him feeling that
No,
hopelessness
we
and
don't want
be
to feel hopeless. We're
no,
trying to be positive. We don't want
right.
we don't want me to feel worse.
Because
I don't want me to feel worse.
no, and it was important because stress doesn't like cause this, but stress can
Yeah,
exacerbate it. It can make
people
it
will be like,
worse.
"Oh, stress causes Crohn's disease." No,
So,
it doesn't.
right,
If anything, it can spark a flare, and it can greatly make a flare worse. It's not going to cause Crohn's disease,
right.
but it's going to make the flare.
So you're always like trying to minimize that. So we're like,
So
how
feeling
can we?
hopeless is definitely not going to
Yeah. So
help.
as I'm reading this, I'm like, yeah, all these things are true. And so at their organization, they said that they believe a child's mental and emotional well-being is integral to their physical fight against a critical illness.
Mhm.
True. Research shows that these granted dreams, can often be a key way to help children build the physical and emotional strength they need to fight and can help produce better health outcomes.
Okay, so basically a
So
positivity boost.
this is where it hurts, I think, so badly because you read things like this, and every parent, what parent does not want that better
Mhm.
outcome for their kid? And
Who doesn't
so,
want to help their kid?
right. And so you read these things and they're marketing this, right?
Mhm.
This is what's
You can
being
help your kid.
marketed. And you're like, I want to
Yes,
make
yes, I
this
want to help my
happen.
kid. I want to help my kid. How can I help my kid?
Right.
And they're like, denied.
Right. And so it feels like a really painful denial
It's a
because it's
betrayal.
right,
Betrayal.
right, like a betrayal in a way because you're like, it's like, no, this kid is worth it. Yours isn't.
No, no.
And I know that's not their intention. Again,
No,
not that, but
no, it's not their intention. That's just
to
how
the
it
to the
feels.
parent who's like, I just read your
People
site.
take things personally, and that's
Well,
people take
especially when
things
it comes to
personally.
your child's health,
Especially when it comes to your child's
they're
health.
gonna
Yeah.
take it very personally.
Yeah.
And
Like,
so
not sick enough?
right, right.
Excuse me?
And so you're thinking you have a like I've just read your site and all these things are true for us and this would be amazing.
They need a disclaimer, especially pointing out that, and we can give your kids their dream as long as we have our budget,
Right.
or as long as we can afford
And
it.
so that's the key thing to also remember, guys. The budget, it's not always about
The
the
kid.
kids. Unfortunately, they may have already donated so
Yeah.
much that by the time you came in the picture, they're like, oh, like end of the year, we've already met the fiscal like budget. And
The thing is, the
so
only expensive wish that I'm gonna get, that I would give or ask for, my dream would be for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, whatever these bioscience companies are, Merck, all these great things, and our friends over at
Mirador,
Mirador,
Inspire,
donate.
yes, reset.
Well, that's the only expensive thing I'd ask for. Think about it though, it's a side effect. Because now these companies are getting more money, so then you're speeding up a cure for other kids to help them feel better.
Right.
Therefore, this is gonna be
Yeah.
cheaper in the long run, right?
Right. I mean,
Ow.
no, and it kind of goes back to what we were just talking about, which is ask when they're applying what they are going to
What
wish
do you
for.
wish for?
So that way because they might be surprised that some of these kids might not have that big of
What
a dream it might
I
not
want
be
to talk
as
to a senator. I want to talk to my favorite YouTuber. I want
right. It might be something
to go to
simple.
Cambria, which is
So it's a
6 hours
shame.
away.
It's a shame that it's hard to do that because if you're operating with a budget, I think it'd be very critical to your bottom line to know when you're approving people potentially what it may cost you.
Yes.
I think that's very important. And I was extremely surprised that was not part of the process. So
Like,
just a
does it
huge,
cost to
I think,
call up a
no.
senator?
I mean, there's
Yeah, no, it's not that
there's a
expensive.
cost to keep the employees there and to make the phone
Yeah.
calls, but they're already there and they are, they're part of that. So anyways, I think there could be some ways where you could really help a lot more kids if you just ask in the beginning.
Now, don't get us wrong, because it's not we're going with these. They're not bad people, and they're
Nope.
not doing things wrong. We're just
No.
trying to help them, and
Right. So we can help everybody. We're like
Yeah, we
doing
want
it's
to help
not just
everybody.
IBD kids. So we're coming in because we're saying they're being left out,
We
but
want to
this
help them
would
learn, and we want to help other ill
right, other
children with
chronic
Crohn's
right,
disease
because
and other
I know
stuff.
there's other ones that are probably
Yeah,
being
we
overlooked
want
as well.
them to be happy too, and not
Right.
brought down and be like, "Oh man, I'm not
Right.
thick enough."
And so they end that thing because they're talking about they were honoring Mental Health Awareness Month, and they said that they're celebrating the positive impact that their dreams they grant have on the mental and emotional well-being of children with critical illnesses, their families, medical providers, and everyone involved. And so I do think that is something to celebrate. And
Definitely.
I'm happy that these places exist. It didn't matter to me that Mason was selected or not. That's why I approached it. It was never about
Yeah.
that. It was really about there's other kids that I know, like we have the connections. We have people that can help us also
Yes.
with Mason make his life better. We're so fortunate that I want others to have that too. And so I know for some other people, having these organizations may be crucial for your child, maybe a huge turning point, and maybe something that would make a huge impact in their life and maybe potentially change their lives in the future to become future donors to this kind of
Mhm.
organization,
Yeah.
right? And want to do things to help because they will never forget, how you made them feel and what you did for them in a moment of need.
It'll
And
make that person feel a lot better, you know?
right, I
They'll
think
always be talking about you, and you're going to hear positive things about you, which
right.
is what you want, you know?
So it's
Not negativity,
no,
or you don't want to hear that.
no.
Less negativity.
And so, I mean, I hope we've done kind of a good job where for you guys listening, where it's again not anger
Not saying
here.
you're bad. No, we're trying to
No,
teach you.
because there's so much good in it.
Yeah,
And so it's
there's
like
a lot of good in it.
you don't want to take away from what is being done for those kids that
Oh no,
this is
definitely not.
really helping because I agree with everything they said about the mental health and how it will help kids and their families.
We're seeing
Totally
it. That's
agree with
right.
that. Yeah. So at any rate, this is why we haven't really talked about it. I wanted to make sure we were in a good place to discuss uh and make sense with it and not be too harsh.
No, we don't want to be too harsh.
No.
We
And
don't want to just yell at these people. You know, we want to help them understand how they can improve.
right. And I think that's what our channel tries to do a lot is we try to educate here. This
Help
is
people
not,
learn.
yeah, I mean, sometimes we'll be angry with the insurance and like the,
And
like,
that's fair because we've done how many videos on insurance by now? Three videos.
like check it out. You'll see. We're like, oh my gosh, not another denial. We had an incident this week with it would turn be nothing, but with our specialty pharmacy, I see it's like I
Again.
see them calling me, and whenever my phone, I like my blood pressure, it's like,
Yeah,
like
you're just chilling on a day, and all of a sudden, insurance calls. Right.
uh-huh. And even
No,
Mason, I see him watching me. He's like, "Is it insurance?" And I'm like, "It's no, it's not insurance, but it's a special." And he's like, "Okay." And so it's like,
Because I always say there, and then it's like,
right,
oh, Stellara, and I'm like, uh-oh.
right. So that kind of stuff you may
Y'all
hear us get a
stink.
little bit more like we're a little more moody about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But this is just more of a how can we help? How can we?
The other difference is that these foundations
Mhm.
they're giving more to a life to help it
Yes,
feel better. And
yes.
while insurance is like,
Oh yeah.
while we could be giving you that biologic, we're kind of
I
looking
know.
to save money.
They're like,
So,
you were doing so well, so we've decided we want to rock the
yeah.
boat.
You
That's
might
what
have to experience a lot of pain and
it's like.
a worse
Stoked.
quality of life just so we can save some
Right.
pennies
So that yeah, so my
or millions.
concerns are far less with something like
Yeah,
this than with insurances. That's where my fight and legislative stuff. That's where my fight is. And so I don't mind, getting angry to motivate myself to do what I need to do. But this kind of thing is not worth being angry about. No, I think it's just more of hurt feelings. And I could see some parents were very hurt by it. And I'm like, that's the last thing they need right now is to feel like their kid is not as important. And so yeah, I don't know. You can't make everyone happy either. I know it's kind of an impossible situation, but hopefully we helped a little bit today.
Yes.
So,
Hopefully,
thank you for listening to us. And we're gonna it's warm.
it is.
Like I
Shine it.
once again, guys,
Right.
here we are complaining now, right? It's warm, but
Not on.
but it's kind of warm today. Maybe get the AC real quick because I still have to run. I have to go for my run, and so I don't,
Well, that's not fun.
Yeah, we also went on a little like
Oh,
small
yes.
hike this morning at a local lake
Yeah, there
nearby
was
us.
lots of dragonflies. There were lots of bees. There were mud wasps. There were baby fish. There was a
Mhm.
baby, no, a
Ducks.
teenager duck. There
Yeah,
were some Canadian geeses.
like
I know it's
Canadian.
not said geese. It's
No,
just geese.
I know you thought it'd be
Geese is
funny.
funny.
Yeah, I know geese.
Have a
Yeah.
bit of fun in your life.
So we did that. That was kind of cool, but it
Nature walk.
was also very warm out.
It was.
And so it's been a warm day. So Yeah, I think we deserve some
Yeah,
AC.
we
So
do.
we're gonna probably do that. So, anyways,
To beat
guys.
winter.
So if you're not following us already, head over to Team IB Determined on Instagram and give us a follow. Also, the Reggie Project.
Yeah.
And we are at Carmitude Candles. I don't have it on our Instagram there, but it is, I believe, on our Team IB Determined.
Okay.
We have some pumpkins still available.
It's getting close
And
to Halloween, guys. We need these new candles. You need.
yeah, and pretty soon, usually behind me, and it's not lit up today, we have a candle warmer. And so
Oh,
we're gonna
it's
have one of our new pumpkins there. Probably next time we'll show it to you guys. But
over here.
we have like 5 left, and then they're sold out for the season.
Five
So
left.
yeah. So if you're interested, message us, go to karmatudecandles.com. Your purchases also help
Yeah, there's
support
so many
the
people who watch this podcast. Once this video is out, the candles will be flying off the shelves.
part of the proceeds go to the Kearns and Kleist Foundation. So you can
Always supporting the
know
Present
that.
Class Foundation.
Yep. And keep on listening to us on any podcast station like Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and follow the link from Buzzsprout that we have for you guys. And I'll let you talk about YouTube.
All right. And if you're on YouTube, there's also YouTube podcasts. But if you like to watch us and see how glistening we are down this summer heat,
Like, it's so hot.
uh, and see the non-existent can.
Like we're getting redder and redder. I don't know if it's like me, but I feel like
No, I mean,
well, in editing, you're not going to notice a thing. We'll probably
but
drop
if you want to watch us and
yeah,
listen to us at the same time, you can
go
just
to
watch YouTube
YouTube.
videos. And if you're there, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to be notified every time we post a new video, make sure to hit that bell icon
And leave
as well. And yes,
comments.
and leave comments.
Yep,
So
we'd love to
how
hear from you
find
guys.
us, just said hello, hi. If you learned something from today,
Yeah,
if we missed anything, if there's an experience you had, or if there's anything
right.
you want us to talk about in the future videos, because we love doing that. Also, make sure to be positive because we don't like negativity here.
No, right. Try to be, be a constructive criticism
Yeah.
or be positive.
Analytical approach.
Right. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. Well, we'll see you back here in 2 weeks on the next episode.
The rest of you 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you will stick around, tune in, and reach out to us with your own journeys. We are excited to give you an inside view of what it takes to be a caregiver and what it's like to be a patient.
And most of all, we hope you'll maybe be able to play something you hear on here that might help you in your own life. Sometimes life changes, and it's all about how you handle the journey.